Hello, friend. It's me again, Anthony. And today I want to talk to you about some help or some words for teenagers as a Northland College principal, John Tepine, has offered. And he said, and I quote, "Always we hear the cry from teenagers. What can we do? Where can we go?" And so here's some answers. Here's what the judge says. My answer is this. This is to teenagers, by the way. Go home, mow the lawn, wash the windows, learn to cook, build a raft, get a job, visit the sick, study your lessons, and after you've finished, read a book. I'm going to repeat this just for emphasis. Always we hear the cry from teenagers. What can we do? Where can we go? So here's what this judge says. John Tepine from Northland College. My answer is this. Go home, mow the lawn, wash the windows, learn to cook, build a raft, get a job, visit the sick, study your lessons, and after you finish, read a book. And then he goes on to say further, your town does not owe you recreational facilities, and your parents do not owe you fun. Words of wisdom, aren't they? We were all teenagers once. The world does not owe you a living. Again, for emphasis, teenagers, the world does not owe you a living. You owe the world something. You owe it your time, energy, and talent so that no one will be at war, in sickness, and lonely again. My goodness, words of wisdom for a certain. Let it sink in. So I'll repeat for emphasis again. The world does not owe you a living. You owe the world something. And what would that be? You owe it your time, energy, and talent so that no one will be at war, in sickness, and lonely again. Now, emphasizing on the words lonely again makes me think of the elderly. Could be anyone, starting from your own family, your uncles, your aunts, your grandparents. You can bring them great joy by trying to spend a little time with them, right? Little time of yours, which you can give, which should be free as a teenager, with nothing to do if you're complaining that way. In other words, for teenagers again, grow up. Stop being a crybaby. Get out of your dream world. Get out of your dream world and develop a backbone, not a wishbone. How true. I wish I was this. I wish I was that. I wish I had some money. I wish I had a big house. I wish I had a car. You have lots of time because you're still a teenager, right? Start behaving like a responsible person. You are important. And you are needed. You are important and you are needed. It's too late to sit around and wait for somebody to do something someday. Someday is now, and that somebody is you. Well, my friends, this is really something that teenagers should pay attention to and take heart. But yet another group of people are both parents and young children. Parents, teach your children to be honest and admit their errors When I was growing up, our school had, I was raised in a, growing up in a, to go to a Christian school. So there we were taught, you know, Christianity. But there were other things that, other classes for non-Christians, and that was moral science. I don't think we have moral science in any religion or school today, because the world has forgotten many things, especially God. But that's for a different topic for a different day and time. But parents, this is for you. Teach your children to be honest and admit their errors. When we were growing up, we always pinched our siblings and said it was not me, it was him, and that kind of stuff. Trivial stuff. So, and then teach them also to avoid blaming others. It's not me, it's him, it's her. And don't make excuses. Teach them to avoid making excuses. And most importantly, whether at home, though it does begin at home, apologize when appropriate. I live in a land called Canada. Our people here are known for apologizing and saying sorry for nothing. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Opening doors, sorry. If you went accidentally before somebody said sorry. If you bumped into someone, supposedly, because you both avoided it, of course, both would say sorry. We always say sorry in this land. This is what is missing in many parts of the world. Being apologetic for nothing. It's kindness. It's really kindness. Something that we all as human beings have to understand. Kindness. It's very important. The other things that parents could also learn is to teach the children by example. Am I industrious, organized, and punctual? Do my children see the working around the home? Do they see me working around the home? Do I do things, or do I let it all be there? Right? Do I acknowledge my mistakes, even apologizing when necessary? So being apologetic, there's nothing wrong in that. It shows kindness and respect for humans, big or small. So here's an anecdote by somebody named Laura, a parent, I think. She says, when I was making dinner, the children helped me at a very young age. If I was folding laundry, they folded some too. If I was dusting, they dusted. Work became fun for them because they were included, of course. They were happy to be with me, doing what I was doing. That's how they learned to be responsible, right? And another anecdote from Deborah, and she says, once I had our young son call a family friend and tell her he was sorry for being rude. Over the years, he's had to apologize on numerous occasions for saying honest but unkind things. But now he has learned to apologize freely when he makes a mistake. So this he learned from a very young age. So it's not too late to learn. I'm pretty much a senior now, long back. And I have learned many things. I've learned to be like a parachute. What do you think a parachute is? It's used in airplanes especially, right? And if you fall off from an airplane, you're surely going to die, right? But if you had a parachute with you, if you opened it up, you are most likely to save your life. So having an open mind is very much like a parachute. It can save your life, it can make friends, it can open doors, to learning of all things, learning of all kinds, be it literature, art, engineering, science, or life skills. Having an open mind makes you a better human being, a human being that can contribute to society, right? A human being that is very kind and fun to be around. So seniors, we might have a lot of time on our hands. Here's what you and I can do as well. Be around people with a smile. Don't want to be grumpy. When I was growing up, I heard the Voice of America radio station, and it said, "Good morning. This is the Voice of America. If you see someone without a smile, give him one of yours." Of course, growing up in the land I grew up in wasn't fun because everybody was grumpy. They had no time to be courteous or kind, right? I'm not being disparaging. It was just a culture. But out here in the Western world, everybody smiles. No question. Everybody says sorry. It's a wonderful world to be. If everybody could practice these very simple things, right? Here's a tip. There's a lot of hormones that are triggered when you are kind and happy and generous and a good human being to be around. You can research them in your own time. These hormones are called oxytocins, dopamines, and there's one which is the opposite of these two. It's called cortisol, and that you might know because you have gone through stress and pains, I am sure, at some time in your life. That's called cortisol. That triggers a lot of hormones that cause a lot of unhappiness and pain. So if you want to be happy, if you want to generate for yourself, be outgoing. That will trigger oxytocins and the other pheromone is called dopamine, right? So I'll end this short video with some of the benefits that you can derive by being a good human being. Teach by example, right? And learn from your mistakes and be honest. Avoid blaming others, avoid making excuses, and try to apologize whenever appropriate. Thanks for watching.